Hi, I'm Jay McBain, Chief Analyst for Channels at Canalys.
Hi, I'm Sergio Farache, Chief Strategy Officer at TD SYNNEX.
Welcome. Love to get things kicked off, and let's talk about distribution. Over the course of 43 years, distributors have been key to this industry, foundational in terms of the hardware, the software, and the services that are offered to clients, and pretty close to a $5 trillion industry now. What have you seen in that time, and where do you see distribution today in terms of adding value?
Yeah, thank you. We see a significant proliferation of our role in the market. What we see is that the market is getting complex, meaning in the past, I think that one player can deliver practically all the solutions. That don't happen anymore. And distribution now is at the center of the ecosystem, meaning it's the place where you integrate all these components from hardware, software, and services that are needed to deliver a business outcome and a solution to the market.
Yeah, you look at emerging tech, talk about the complexity. But one thing that's been interesting is so much talk about software as eating the world and important to each solution. But whatever emerging tech you're talking about in terms of Internet of Things, AI, automation, blockchain, quantum computing, self-driving cars, drones, 3D printers, metaverse, I could go on, have a very deep hardware layer to it. So yes, the integration of hardware, software, and services seems to be adding complexity, not removing it going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sometimes it's a misunderstanding in terms of how all these components play together. And in fact, you can say that software without hardware doesn't exist. Then yes, software is extremely relevant, is who delivers the value in many cases, where is the intelligence. But again, the ability to integrate all those components from the infrastructure layer to the software layer and then the services to implement that solution is the full chain of value. In the past, that value was linear, meaning one player delivered all the model. Now you need multiple players and need multiple components to deliver a complete solution.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're seeing as well. If you look back to the 1980s or 1990s, that partner might have been delivering at that point of sale, bringing together all the components necessary and putting together the deal. But in the 28 moments now before the sale, all of the consulting, the design, the architecture work, at the point of sale, it's more complex. But then now in a subscription consumption model, every 30 days forever, whether that's implementation, integration, whether it's managed services, partners are expanding their role. Is that what you're seeing in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact is that as we are very well placed in the industry in those interactions, the other fact that we have is a lot of data. And that data gives us the ability to understand how the elements play, and at the same time, how we participate in those 28 moments that you described. How we influence the next buy, how we suggest the upsell or cross-sell capability related to enhance the security posture or improve the new technology adoption in a customer specifically. Then I would say that those components help us to deliver a bigger value today than in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can think about all those moments now delivering in terms of specializations. You can't just come to market as a generalist. You've got to have industry expertise, buyer expertise, regional expertise now, depending on the segment, the products that you're offering, even the model that you're in. It seems like there's lots of specializations. What is distribution doing to help in terms of the partner being able to deliver at that level?
Yeah, in our case, we take a specialization as a significant component of our value proposition. And if you see, we have elements related to services capabilities, specialization in specific technology areas, but at the same time, we create elements to enable our partners to deliver that value. We launched our practice builder strategy that basically enables the foundation and the creation of a practice. That practice can be in a specific or horizontal technology segment, or can be in a specific vertical industry segment, because those elements play a role in the market. And we enable the partners with that capacity, but at the same time create competencies internally in TD SYNNEX to supplement those areas where they don't have it and they need it to deliver the final solution.
That's great, and I know TD SYNNEX has invested a lot in digital platforms.
Absolutely.
Being able to orchestrate all these moving parts, the permutations and combinations are almost off the charts. So I know that a lot of investment in terms of the people, the processes, the operations, the underlying technology has been put in place. What have you built?
Yeah, as part of our development, we has been continue investing in digital capabilities. One of those capabilities is, as we said before, our ability to participate in a more digital understanding and marketing and engagement process. But the other area is how we address and how we simplify the delivery of subscription and consumption services, because it's a significant shift and transition in those areas. And as you said, this is not anymore a transaction that you sell and go. It's a constant recurring management and engagement process. Mm-hmm. Then to achieve that, we deliver StreamOne. And StreamOne is the brand that we use in TD SYNNEX for our platform that is focused in consumption and subscription and platform as a service specifically. And in that area, what we realize is a significant challenge, not only because you need to enable the process and optimization and a cost reduction of operation of those elements, but at the same time, you need to create a complete digital journey, meaning it's not enough to serve our partner. Now we need to help our partners to reach digitally to the end user in a way that they can deliver all those capabilities end-to-end in a digital way.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the research we've been doing in the recent couple of years is on this new buyer. We've got, by the end of 2024, a millennial-aged, 1982 birth year and after, majority buyer in our industry. We know they're digital first. We know in many cases they're digital only, very subscription, consumption-friendly, marketplace-friendly. Their buying criteria has changed to integration first. So you mentioned having this data, having this platform, having this marketplace, having all of this being able to put together in a way that serves the entire market, not just the specific solution the customer's buying, but all of the infrastructure, hardware, software, and services they require.
Yeah, and specifically, again, going back to StreamOne and the realization of consumption and subscription as a main elements in this area, as you said, this new buyer, the other thing that is used to is simplicity.
Yes.
They don't want complex things. They want simple things. And the other thing that we did in StreamOne was create normalization. And what we call normalization is basically if you go to other platforms or you go to the life of a normal buyer, they need to go to multiple places, multiple vendors, multiple marketplaces, and all of them have difference, operate in a different way. What we did in StreamOne is to create an homologation process, a normalization process, meaning if you buy any of the hyperscalers technology or any of the ISV technology, you will do it in a simple, single way, meaning it's always the same process, it's always the same end-to-end operational model. That enables the partner and the end user to interact in a simple way, independent how many relationships they have. And that is a critical piece in the support of the value. The other thing that we realize is that, yes, marketplace is significantly important in terms of how I discover and consume the technology. But you need much more than a marketplace. You need a platform that enable the partner to do a digital business, that have the ability to manage their own terms and conditions, that have the ability to manage their pricing strategy, that have the ability to deliver their own products and solutions and services integrated with the products that the marketplace deliver, that have the ability to connect to third platforms. In other words, some of these MSPs, as an example, have PSAs. Some other companies have an API architecture and they need to connect via API, headless commerce. Then how you enable all that element is not enough a marketplace. You need a platform, and that is what the StreamOne bring to market.
Yeah, that's great. And just finishing off the research on the new buyer is we know they buy in layers. This isn't a buyer that looks for a single throat to choke or that trusted advisor from the past. Today, they'll surround themselves with an average of 7 partners that all bring additive value. They'll also buy, on average, 7 different things. So starting at one cloud or starting at one SaaS platform isn't enough to actually drive an outcome. So we know that 82% of them today are multi-cloud. And so, like you said, going to different marketplaces and getting different outcomes and trying to put all that together is complex. Having one place that you can go and add from cloud to hybrid to edge and bringing together the hardware, the software, and those critical services is key.
Yeah, and again, we start with a hyperscaler, but now we are embracing this concept of syndication. And what syndication means is that now we are not only able to bring the vendors that we manage and the hyperscalers to the table, now we are able to syndicate the context of the hyperscaler marketplace in our platform, and again, simplify the way that you discover and consume those elements, because for you it's exactly the same process, because your API is exactly the same one, because your PSA connector works for everything in the same way. Then the operational costs, the efficiencies that we can bring to them, but at the same time, the opportunity to create new source of revenue are significant in terms of how the platform provides.
Yeah, absolutely. And today with that 7-layer stack, what's interesting, at least in the research, is looking at the buyer and how they think about it. But it might involve lots of different vendors. And we're entering in this platform economy, where it just isn't just a collection of tools offered by one vendor. There's going to be perhaps 7 vendors in the deal. But more importantly, there's going to be these 7 partners offering maybe hundreds of services inside the deal. And then because of an integration-first buyer, all of these technology alliances, there's hundreds of thousands of ISVs that may be part of that 7-layer stack as well. So again, the complexity, we started out talking about the where the world's going. The ability to pull this all into one place becomes more and more critical.
Yeah, and the other element that we realized when we built this platform was the fact that we cannot provide all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, besides we have a lot to provide, we cannot provide all. Then when we create and design the platform, we create it in a way that the partner can create their own services and can link their own products in his own version of the platform and the marketplace in a way that they can create API interactions with third parties too that provide part of the solution. Because again, it's now how you enable all those connections in a simple way to consume and be delivered. And that is part of the architecture, and that is part of what we call the Entier Model. That is another factor. In the past, it was very clear that distribution was a 2-tier model. It's not anymore. It's an N-tier model. Because you have relationship with ISVs that have partners, that have end users. You have 4 tiers in those cases. Or you have relationships where multiple partners need to work together in an opportunity. You need to enable those situations.
Yeah, really what this is an ecosystem of ecosystems.
Exactly.
And if you think backwards, you brought up the linear part of selling through 2-tier. But when there's multiple layers of services and alliances and integrations, obviously with tens of thousands of vendors also playing, it's a convergence of millions of companies coming to try to help the customer with an outcome. And at this point, it's bringing all that together in an ecosystem view, and how the money changes hands is only one small element of that.
Yeah, and the other critical piece here, besides sounds probably operational and basic, is how you enable the financial models behind that. Mm-hmm. Because in the past it was very simple. You have a transactional model. Somebody buy, and it's a cost, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But that is not anymore. Now you have a transactional model, but you have a subscription model that is repetitive and recurrent, and you have a consumption model that is based on utilization, and a utilization of an asset or utilization based on time. And then how you combine all those elements in a single solution, because as an example, you can enable a solution that is built in an infrastructure that works with consumption, with a software that operates in a subscription, that have a router that is a transaction. How you enable all those elements, and that is what the StreamOne do, is put all those pieces together in a way that you can consolidate consumption and subscription in a single unified billing. And in the back could be many vendors, many providers, but all operate in a single normalized way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to say it kind of in a cheeky way, I would talk about this expansion of this digital journey that this customer's on. Not just those 28 moments, getting the customer to the dance, the procurement, provisioning, getting them on the dance floor, but every 30 days forever. It's this customer for life. And it's how do we serve, how do we upsell, how do we cross-sell, how do we enrich, how do we work this in an ongoing basis that never ends. And so it's this expansion of the digital journey that pretty much changes everything and really plays to the hand of a big distributor like TD SYNNEX.
Yeah, and the other fact is that these are multi-million-dollar investments. And many of our partners don't have necessarily the size to do that for themselves. Yeah. Then we see that as a critical role of us in the market to enable that digital journey. And again, not only to them, to the end users, in a way that have a full digital connection. The other element that we're seeing now is more and more is a more broad business that transcends countries and barriers, right? If you take the case of Europe, I have many partners that operate in multiple countries inside the European market. In Latin America, similar situation. The other beauty of StreamOne is that it's a global platform. It's a multi-tenant global platform. What that means is that we have multi-currency, multi-language, and every features that we release in terms of the platform in StreamOne is available at the same time in US, but it's available in Thailand or it's available in Colombia. Then now we have the ability as a global entity to put global capabilities at the hand of the partners, but at the same time of the vendors. When a vendor engages with StreamOne, he can be available in 90 markets the day after.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you look backwards again at partners, in many cases they would serve a market, within 50 miles or a roll of the truck from their headquarters. But what you're really delivering is a global ability to deliver services at a scale that goes far beyond mileage and can actually treat and work with customers who are also trying to build global capabilities at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that we live already with COVID, that transformation, that digital transformation, right? In the past, we was in a plane all the time, right? And then we realized that video conferencing works too.
Right.
And the same happened with the platform. Now it's probably you have skills, you have services and capabilities that enable a customer to want to buy from another country to you. In the past, you don't have a way to do it. Now you have a StreamOne and you can enable that country and digitally serve that customer remotely. And that is happening today.
Yeah, and I think of the breadth and scope of this is the majority of software as a service, for example, is bought outside of IT. So you're helping your partners get to the key business executives who are engaging in this. And the first future of generative AI, a lot of that starts at the business level as opposed to the IT level, and you're enabling that. We talked about the expansion into 90 countries, the expansion into 297 industries. All of the different segments from SMB right up to enterprise and government. So the different layers of technology, hundreds of layers of technology capabilities at TD SYNNEX, and then all these models, subscription, consumption, managed services, and then all the legacy services. So if I put that together, there's billions of permutations. It seems like there's a lot of room to fuel innovation for the future.
Yeah, definitely it's still a lot to do, and it's still a lot to develop and complement. But at the same time, it's important to say that, again, including the concept of a platform that is more than a marketplace is not enough.
Right.
You need all these capabilities related to how you develop, how you train, how you serve, how you complement those capabilities. Then I think that the evolution of these 40 years that we talk about give us that expertise to serve really in a way that we can enhance the value of the people that work with us. And as complexity increase, you need somebody that simplifies the life to you.
Yeah, and I think that's where we'll kind of close off today because people sometimes get confused with consumer digital marketplaces, where you go to buy a product, you log in, you find it, you buy it, they ship it, and that's pretty linear.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is multi-tenant. If there's going to be 7 partners trusted around a customer, there's going to be 7 product layers that they buy. Right there's 14 layers, but you start to think about where that goes. Today it's at 7. It'll move to 8, to 9, to 10. It's getting more complex in the age of AI and other things than less. But having this global platform, having this ability to have multi-sides to the marketplace, which a B2B marketplace is different than a B2C. You don't have 10 of your neighbors buying the same thing on the same marketplace at the same time. So that just adds a level of complexity and a level of challenge, I think, in terms of building a platform at this layer.
Yeah, and again, marketplace is a significant relevant instrument, and again, it's a way to discover and buy. But now you need to transcend that layer. You need a platform that enables your business to operate and create those connections and define your interactions, your price model, research and understand what is your business going. And the next step is you need a platform of engagement, because this is not anymore a transactional business. It's an engagement model. And then the platform needs to enable that capability to engage constantly and permanently and discover what is the next step of your customers to help them in that direction.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining. I mean, this is an exciting topic. I'm really interested to see where the next couple of years goes. We've got a new customer, a new buyer. We've got a new platform economy. This digital first and digital only mantra is only going to increase. And I think our ability to serve partners and their ability to serve customers, these outcomes are what changes the world. And to be able to talk about it looking forward is really, really interesting.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time. And again, I think that is only the beginning.